rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the May 23rd work session of the Board of Trustees here. We've got public comment, anyone wishing to address the board. We've got a few people who've signed up at 3 minutes per speaker. Mark London.
Good evening. My name is Mark London. I'm president of Rinkapog Homeowners Association, sometimes known as Cobblefield. Okay. We're a community of 25 homes on approximately 25 acres at the south end of Narrow Lane. Our homeowners have become quite concerned that over the past year, the south end of Narrow Lane has become a public parking area for individuals working in the area. Frequently, there are in excess of 40 cars parked along the south end of Narrow Lane. As a result, that section of Narrow Lane is lined with cars from 6 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. at night, and occasionally cars are parked there overnight. The board of the association has received a number of complaints from our homeowners asking the board to do something about this, expressed concern about the increase in traffic, security concerns, and just the general damage and mayhem that is done to the road. I've also talked to the president of Pheasant Pond, which is the homeowners association on the other side of Narrow Lane. They also, that's 50 homes over there. They also share our concerns and would back our association and the efforts. What we're really asking for is the village either prohibit parking, make that a no parking zone at the south end, or at a minimum 2 hour parking like it is at the north end of Narrow Lane by the high school.
Okay.
Have a.
You find those homes are working on projects around the area, or people, because some parts of the village, what we're seeing is some people who are parking, leaving those cars, and then going to other projects and stuff.
Actually, you know what? Can I answer? I'm going to let you add something, because I drop my son in high school in the morning, so I know exactly the area you talk about in Southern Park. Because I think I was asking the chief or something. We were talking about it with somebody in the department fairly recently. And what you have is you have a combination of people who park there for the school, but the most southern tip, I'm not quite sure, is that, because I've actually seen a minivan or two pull up and pick up workers after they exit those vehicles that just parked that you're referring to.
I've seen that too. Yeah. I'm not out here as much as some of my neighbors are. They see that a lot. I know there's a construction project going on in Pheasant Pond, and sometimes the vans go in there, but not all the vans are going in there.
Yeah.
So it's not just one project.
Right. Okay.
But
I ran into somebody over the weekend who lives there, Angelica. What is Angelica's last name?
Bartle.
And she told me about it, and I went down this morning to see it. And the first thought I had, I was coming from the Wickapog side, and I saw all these vehicles all lined up bumper to bumper, really. And I thought maybe some of them were from the high school, and they may very, very well be. But the diagonal parking area that we did for the high school here a couple of years ago still had, and this was at 9 o'clock this morning, had 3 empty parking lots all on the southernmost part of that, which would say to me that at least this morning, anybody that worked at the school was parking another 150, 250 yards away when there was no need to, So I suspect that very few of those cars have anything to do with the school, and it's more what you're saying.
yeah, it's a very small portion of it. That's why you have that gap there, because there's no parking from the diagonal to where the cars begin, or the trucks begin.
Right.
So I sent a letter or email to Bill if you guys want copies. I can.
Thank you. We have had issues before, like it's 2 hour parking in certain areas, and then we had some kids that go in and they go to the BOCE programs and they get on the bus and they're gone for periods of time, and so we've had issues with that. But if it's all the way at the end, nobody going to the schools parking down there.
No. And currently there are no parking restrictions at that end of Narrow Lane.
Yeah,
So it's just,
we're seeing that in a few different places around the village where they're just, it's like hometown taxi. he doesn't have an office around here, and he's parking his taxis all over the place. And it's a problem. And so, and there's other companies doing the same things, and so it's, yeah. Okay.
Thank you for your
All right,
time.
thanks.
Thanks.
Franny?
Good evening. My name is Francis Adam Chesky. I live at 40 West Prospect Street. I've been in touch with one of the homeowners down at the picnic area, and his concerns are summer's coming and surf school. It states here in the surf school that the surf school is permitted to work between 9 and 12 Monday through Friday. States here that the licensee nor its personnel should give private lessons before, during, or after permitted hours of the surf school. Now, the picnic area has become bombarded with surf schools, not just Flying Point, but other surf schools. Wondering if there's anything we can do. It says here that, you know, ocean beaches, it's a commercial activity, and you need permits, and the surf school is permitted to 9 to 12, Monday through Friday, and
So let me just, so the surf school, which is a surf camp, which we advertised for, which we had nobody respond to.
yes, believe me, I know.
So,
I've been here, yeah, quite a few times.
I heard. So, I mean, I'm not going to be here.
I understand,
so,
but I'm the board and the new mayor, hopefully he's in here, and
Well, unless there's a write-in campaign, it's going to be one of those two guys right there, so.
exactly. So, you know, I just want them to,
And-
you know, enforce
Yeah.
the rule that's here. It's a public, you know, it's a law that amends that they're not supposed to be down there. And the homeowner itself, he's concerned about surf schools, because last year he called and nobody did anything. I've called many times, nobody did anything.
Yeah, but this year, without any authorization,
Are they
It's
going to
a
be
different-
written up and kicked off the beach? Because that's a big problem, because last year at the end of the season, they were coming
So
on with
let's
10.
talk about, so the first part is that you were coming and complaining about people giving private surfing lessons on private property. That's
No,
what you,
no.
that's what you guys were coming in here, and you were going after the
That's not
Ariscott,
the only thing. That's
you were
not,
going after the Ariscott family, and they were providing private lessons on their property. Okay?
correct, which I was, last year, when I came in here, I said I had no problem with her getting her private lessons. Now, what's happening is, after she gets her lessons, that surf school and those guys down there, and it's just not Flying Point Surf School. There's other schools coming from Hampton Bays that are coming down there. I mean, they're not just in front of her property. They're in front of one of the homeowners I've been talking to. They actually sent you pictures. He actually sent you an email and pictures saying there's a surf school in front of my, and no
So
response.
that's an unauthorized surf school down there.
So then,
There's
no,
been-
no,
at the end of the-
they've never been, see, the problem is that you're using the wrong terminology, okay? You keep saying surf school, surf camp, and
Well,
everything.
private lessons.
So that's
It says it
different.
right here, no private lessons. The licensee nor its personnel shall give private lessons after that hour.
Right.
So,
So what was happening was that we were designating a location, okay? And the first year what happened was that they, after the camp was over, after the 9 to 12, then they were providing individual lessons after that in the same spot. They've never been authorized by the village to do anything down in the picnic area.
so why wasn't anything done to get them out of there?
How do you
When we
prove, how do you prove that there's a commercial activity down there?
We showed you a picture of Flying Point Surf School truck with 20 boards and 10, 15 kids standing next to it at the picnic area. Miss Aristog was not getting lessons last year because she has the lawsuit against us. So it was not her, and you keep bringing up her, but I have no problem with her. I see her in the water surfing. I surf with her. I have no problem with her. I understand. But when you have 4 different surf schools coming from all different areas, not just Flying Points, not just his guys coming, it's 4 different schools. And you were down there counting the trucks last year for 150.
And I went down there and I never saw any surf lessons going on down there.
You could have came with me and I would have pointed them out to you.
Well, I'm just telling you that's what I observed. I went down there all the time so I could see what was going on. I counted trucks, I counted all sorts of stuff. Well,
How will be different this summer then?
oh, you're in the audience, okay? So he's got it right here, all right?
That's my right hand.
Yeah, well,
He can come up
so,
there.
The fact that nobody bid, what does that add up to?
you know, that means that the surf camp, there is no surf camp.
So
But
when
a
there
surf
is a
school and
surf camp, we
are
can
they
go
two
down
different
there.
things?
So if somebody's giving private lessons, I can call the police department
You
and
can
they
call
will
the
come
police, and
and.
chief is giving you the nod right there.
I love you guys. Those guys
That's
are good.
good.
They put a lot of crap into this sometimes.
Yeah, but
But there's a reason for that, because last year, it was a learning curve over last year, and that's why they beefed up for this coming season.
I appreciate that.
But you also have to find, when you write something, you've also got to understand that it's got to go in front of the judge at the court system. It's got to be held up in court. So you've got to have proof. That's going to be the,
Well, I have proof on camera and video, and if you want that. and
yeah, but
they
your
wanna
camera,
go,
yeah.
I'll be more than happy to go with them, and, you know, if they need help down the beach to point these people out, because I know who they are. I mean, you can look on their website, and they're their instructors right there, and Flying Point Surf School on the side of their truck. Now, that's a sign on the truck. It says here, no signs are allowed to be put up on the beach.
Just saying that the processing that whole thing is more difficult than just Franny going down with the police officer and pointing out who's doing stuff. Okay? I'm just telling you that it's
I understand it's
Yeah.
difficult, but I mean, it's a big problem down there. It's a big problem.
Well, if you have 3 officers that are dedicated to
Yeah.
patrolling down there, you're ahead of the game from last year.
I hope so. I hope so. All right? Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public would like to speak?
Hello, my name is Kelly Dennis. I'm a Shinnecock attorney, and I took a look at your agenda, and I actually saw that there's going to be lacrosse on the beach. Is that correct, at Cooper's?
No, that's not. That is an annual party that the youth lacrosse team likes to have. That is at the kind of end of the season annual party is what that is. So.
Oh, okay, well, that's fun. Just a reminder that lacrosse is actually a game that originated with the indigenous peoples local to the Northeast, so that seemed like a nice event. We have actually invited that lacrosse team and others to play on the Shinnecock Reservation, which is fun. But I'm actually here because I have been trying to contact the village Board of Trustees and inquire into whatever happened to the proposed resolution for free beach access that was provided to you on July 26, 2016. I wanted to see if you were able to review that, made a determination, and if there can be something given in writing to the Shinnecock Nation as your determination, and to see if there's anything that we as a nation need to bring you or provide you in order to find a solution to this matter.
You have to get somebody, I'm not in favor of it. Me personally, I'm one of 5 people up here, okay? So, my thing is what you're asking for is you're asking for free parking passes, the parking pass, the maintenance of the beach, and the maintenance of the parking lot, the trash removal, the lifeguards, all that stuff costs money. And
Hampton Village has an abundance of. especially when the summer season comes in?
Well, I'm not going to respond to that. Okay, so what I'd asked is some minor participation from the council on it, and I never got any kind of real feedback on that, and that's the so I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I'm not even going to ask them to respond at this point in time, but it's just we provide a free beach pass to people who volunteer in the fire department, because basically they're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the environment.
That's part of the reason my father joined the fire department.
Yeah, well, it's, I tell you what, until I got involved, I didn't truly appreciate what those guys do, and it's the same thing with the ambulance, too. And, we've been approached by other volunteer organizations that are not based in the village asking for, free beach passes, and we've taken the stance that, if you're in the village and serving the village, that's a different position than if you're outside of the village. So, for me personally, it's I think that there's a cost of operating the beaches, and that's when someone buys the pass, they're helping to cover the cost of the operation. Even the homeowner in the village of Southampton, people think, oh, you get a free beach pass. You don't get a free beach pass. You're paying taxes, which helps cover the operations of the beach. So we don't get it. The only truly person that's actually getting in theory, free beach pass is the volunteers, but they're giving up their time and much more to service the village.
You had mentioned that you would basically provide the resolution to other village officials for their review. Did anyone else review the resolution, or is this just you speaking personally?
I'm speaking personally right now, and I'm not asking anybody to respond right now because of...
This was over a year ago, though, that you said that other village people would review it. I think everything that probably been passed out to everybody. It's, and we've talked about this in different board meetings. Is there any way that the Shinnecock Nation can get a written response to this issue so we can figure out how to go forward and be able to meet among ourselves and see, as you said personally, to find a way where we can contribute to, beach cleanup and things like that?
Well, maybe there's some options out on the table there, but
I just don't want to be dismissed, the verbal, it really doesn't help us out. We need something in writing, and that's what we're asking for.
Well, I know, you're going to ask for something in writing, then it's going to turn around, and you guys are going to go after the village of Southampton because it disagrees with, from my standpoint, I don't know about, if I were to put something in writing, then it would be in a disagreement with
we're already in a disagreement, respectfully. We just need something in writing to see how we can move forward.
Okay. All right. I will talk to our attorney on that. So, okay. Thanks.
I'd just like to add to what she's saying a little bit. I just feel...
Identify yourself for the
Sorry,
record.
yes. My name is Deani Brown. I'm also a person who has been avid about this issue since 2014. But I just think the village and this whole resolution is really complicating things. Really, how it's historically been, it's always been a custom that we visit that beach, and nobody has ever really raised a hand. I've had elders tell me in my community that they drive their families to the beach, and people would let them on. People still today, particular people from Shinnecock, can go to that beach with no problem. Then you have people who, are Shinnecock, they'll show you their ID. That's not good enough, so you give them a ticket, then they have to go to court for 3 years, and then fight that, and then they get it dismissed because, hey, you know what, you're from Shinnecock, in the interest of justice, we're gonna dismiss it. That's the part that I'm trying to get removed, because it shouldn't be particular for one person or another. It should just be across the board. We've historically acknowledged that we both live here together. We've historically acknowledged that we both have access to the same land. and waters. And this is no different. This is just continuing that custom. To put litigation in between it all, that just complicates things. I'm asking for what we were asking originally, is for you to acknowledge who we are as people. We have a federal ID that was given by your federal government, our federal government, to say that this is who we are. It's no more than people saying, okay, Mr. Crippen, go on in, you've always been here, it's fine. It's no particular different from my cousin, Seneca, who can go to the beach and get in with no problem. You know, that's all it is. That's all I'm asking. That's all we're asking. And nobody's gonna show up in like 50, 100 of us at a time, in droves to drive away your people, if that's what you're afraid of. It's never been like that. And it's not all about Coopers. There are other village beaches too that we cannot access, that we historically go to fish or, you know, to pray or whatever. And that's what the issue is. You're prohibiting our continuity as people of the Stony Shore. That is what Shinnecock means. These are our Stony Shores. This is our Aboriginal territory. For you to put litigation in between that, that's a breach of federal, as you've read the letter from NARF, federal rules, and also international indigenous rules. So I'm just asking you to respectfully consider that. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else from the public would like to speak? Okay, we'll close the public comment section now, and we'll go on to board presentations here. Scott Fraley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Several months ago, I had met with Steve Funch to discuss the 401A plan that Suffolk County, Northport Village, Sands Point Village, Huntington Bay Village, and others have put in place to try to save some money for each of the individual municipalities. I don't know how you'd like me to proceed. You want me to just give you a basic overview of how it works?
Just give an overview of the 401A.
Okay.
And
So basically, the 401A, which is a special pay plan, was established in order to deal with some of the issues that all the municipalities face in terms of unused sick and vacation pay, SCAT pay, as you may or may not know it as. The plan allows for unused sick and vacation pay to be put into what's called the 401A plan, and for that, both the village and the individual that is using the plan gets a benefit. If the individual makes less than $127,000 per year, both the village and that individual will save 7.65% on any contribution into the plan. If they were to go over that number, the village and the individual would save 1.45%. So there is savings, albeit, not billions of dollars here, clearly. But the other benefit is that the plan costs nothing to the village. So it's kind of as simple as saying that, if we all have ATM cards and, we have Chase cards and Chase is free to go to the bank and Citigroup costs us $2, we're going to go to Chase because it's going to save some money. So those individual municipalities thought that it presented some value. So I was brought here, talked to Mr. Funch, and just, was asked to come here tonight. So any questions that anybody has, I'd be happy to answer. Or come back again at another time when you've more fully reviewed it.
So basically what you're doing is you're offering, the village is offering the ability for an employee to, in their last 2 years of service, to be able to put up to like $54,000 a year of
termination pay.
Yeah,
if you want to call it,
and towards that. So it's that 54,000. Let's just use it's 1,000 hours or whatever the number is at that rate of pay at that point in time, right?
Correct. If you expand beyond a 1-year plan and go to a 2-year plan, you would be paid in the year of which you put the dollars in. So if you had an escalating contract, you'd be saving money at that point,
right.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yes. And you'd have to sign a voluntary letter saying that you will be retiring at a certain time in order to take advantage of the multi-year option. Other than that, there is nothing.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was intrigued by was it actually allows the village to actually do better planning when it comes to retirement for people, and then also locking in that pay at that level would save a little bit of money, not a lot, but at least it's a little bit. So, did you guys have any questions on this?
So you have basically, it's a little, potential savings in money. It varies, scale there.
Certainly, depending on how much the individual makes.
But more importantly, it's no cost to the taxpayer.
Absolutely not, 100%.
And what actually advantage to the taxpayer and the municipality is that it can actually extend a level of predictability
Certainly.
with how they're going to pay certain payments out. And this is at the discretion of the employee, correct?
Yeah, basically what happens is that every employee would have to be a part of the plan for their last year, so there's guaranteed savings for the village. If the employee wanted to do a multi-year option and that was provided by the village, then you would clearly know. And typically speaking, that would be an elder employee who would be more highly compensated because they're going to want to take advantage of putting that termination pay away more, which would then again reflect in more of the percentage savings, et cetera. So it's been viewed pretty positively by most villages that have put it in place.
How long has this been around?
It's been around for decades. It's just really come to New York, to be honest, a couple years ago. With the rising tide of termination pay going up. So that was kind of the genesis behind it.
For me, it's a simple, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Steve's presented it to us. Again, our numbers guy.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that it actually helps the municipality with predictability, and that's like, say, termination pay is a big, even though we kind of get into somewhat of an advance when it's going to occur with some employee, but this actually really helps in that area, saves money, and it doesn't cost the village taxpayer.
And I would say that if there are any individuals that, do fall underneath that scale of the 127, even if it's $20,000 hypothetically of tax pay, that's decent money. That's $1,600 that you're going to be saving.
Yeah.
So
What's the incentive for the employee?
The employee would be able to defer the taxes on that money, and they'd be saving the same thing that you would as the village, either the 145 or the 765.
If they went in the last year, they would.
If they go in any year, they save that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's mandatory. There is no opting in or opting out. Everyone that fits the criteria, whoever you deem eligible, is in that plan. It's not up to 54. If they have 54, that's what's going in there, which again saves you more money.
But the employee will be the one to manually or voluntarily pull the trigger on it, whether they enact it. Is that correct?
That would be only if they were doing a multi-year plan. The last year, they would be automatically placed in.
It's a multi-year.
Yep.
Scott, upon withdrawals, is handled the same way as a 401k?
Withdrawals.
For the employee.
Okay, so withdrawals, if you are a police officer, let's call it, it's 50 years old. In the year you turn 50, no penalty. If you're under that, you have a 10% penalty to 59.5. If you're a regular non-police employee, it's 55.
Okay.
That's how that would work. Substitute, obviously, there's disability, all that stuff, same things would apply, yes.
So everybody's
Interest on
automatically
this? I mean,
enrolled.
is there a certain set interest on this, or is it?
The easiest way for you to, kind of gauge how the plan would work is it's similar to a deferred comp. The money defaults into a fixed account, so that way nobody could incur a loss, in theory. And then the individual could come out of that fixed account and invest it however they want. It's their money once it goes into the plan. No different than deferred comp or no different than a 401k.
So everybody's automatically enrolled in it.
Yep.
Right? And so as they come up, if we do the 2-year plan, at 2 years away from retirement, it's automatically taken out if they have the time, and it goes in there?
Yes.
They don't have the ability to say, I'm looking for a bigger check at the end?
The way they would do that was they would not opt for the 2-year plan.
Okay.
So they'd only have to do the last year, which again would be 54,
Right.
which you'd save the 54. But again, from my experience personally, from overseeing some of the things,
Yeah.
more of the senior level employee that has the largest termination check
Right.
is going to be the one that's more apt to give you the more time to, take advantage.
And what's the cap at, the number? There's a cap on it, right?
54,000 is this year.
Is
yeah.
that something that gets indexed every year, like 401k contributions and so forth, or is that
It
a
does.
steady-
Sometimes it's held like IRAs. Sometimes it gets moved up. We've seen it move up a little bit over the last couple of years. Not tremendous by any means. What else can I give you a little piece of information on it? It's pretty simple. The way that it gets added up is earned income plus your termination divided by 2. And that makes you eligible up to the 54,000. So if somebody didn't have that much, obviously, in their scat check, it'd be eligible up to the point at which they'd be eligible.
Okay.
And the money
They
is
can
put,
So I-
opt to not enroll in this, right?
No, they can't. They have to be in the plan.
Yeah, if you stored it, they will have to
Was there
be.
any union ratification on this then? No.
In most cases, it's been agreed upon with an MOA. But because it's a zero-cost situation to the village and the PBA, if you want to call it that, there's never really been negotiations tied up because of it, because it's not really something they give and take.
Just
to
an
be honest.
understanding is another issue.
But it's just, not just about the PBA, though.
No,
Well,
certainly not.
everybody, you know,
Certainly not.
CCA and
All that, yeah. Right.
But I would think everybody has to agree on it, because if some people want to do it and then everybody has to do it, they
There's
should
no
all be in
downside
agreement.
not to doing it. The problem
Right.
is just getting them to understand what this is
Well, I mean, the
about.
benefit is that once they start to withdraw their money, they're taxed on it then, and they're not going to withdraw it all at once. It will be a form of income for them, as opposed to one large check where they're going to be taxed tremendously on that one large check.
Certainly discussion to have that I'm sure that the PBA is going to have with their members in order to agree to it, certainly. But again, in most cases, it is to the advantage of a member to do it. And with people that are in such plans that they have to retire, let's say at 55 anyway, it behooves them to be in it, and they're going to save the money right away. And a lot of times the plans that require 55 are people that might be making less than the 127,000, so that's also where you benefit the most and the employee benefits the most.
Does it affect their Social Security significantly because it's a reduction in Social Security paid in? I think this is the way I'm seeing it. Am I wrong on that?
Well, in Social Security, so let's take into consideration, so all of us pay 127,000, up to the first 127,000 into Social Security. Where this is a savings for them is if they make less than that, they're not going to pay money into Social Security going for that contribution. But if they paid all that money in, it's not really the savings, it's only the 1.45. So, but if you're asking, is it really going to affect their Social Security payouts towards the end of their career? I don't think that's really going to make that big a difference.
It's a question.
No, it's a fair question. It's just the span of time that they've been working relative to the small contribution that could go into this plan is probably not going to make a significant difference.
and U.S. Mutual is the one managing the money? Is that
Actually, the dollars are held at Transamerica,
Transamerica?
Alliance Trust, yeah.
And this can't be divided by union, it has to be all employees or not?
No, it could be divided by union. So certainly you can have it for one group of employees and not the other. And that's what, actually in the county right now, they have the PBA, the SDA, the SOA, the detectives, investigators in there. I believe probation's going in there, but right now AME and corrections are not in there. So by collective bargaining agreement, it would be agreed, and that's how you would get the plan going.
Any other questions or comments or anything like that?
Some of the specifics on it?
And it is IRS approved. That is put in the folder.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's the number one thing.
That's helpful.
But if you have any questions or whatever, you can always reach out to the office. We'd be happy to forward you any more information, legal or otherwise.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the
Yeah,
time.
thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Thanks again.
Okay, we got the public hearing of local law amending Chapter 58, the fire prevention.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Motion to open up for public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing on local law amending Chapter 58 of the Village Code with respect to fire prevention.
Second?
Second?
Aye.
Rick, you want to do a quick summary of this?
Quick summary, as you will recall, within the last couple of months, we amended the fees for permits under this chapter. We could do that by resolution. Now, this local law would add in all the different categories that we now have fees for, basically breaking a lot of things down into specific categories. That's the bulk of the local law. There's some other changes that Dean McNamara has asked for and that Jonathan Foster has said were okay from his point of view. I don't have any expertise on fire prevention, so I can't say much more than that.
Anyone from the board have any comments on this?
No, I mean, I respect all the work that, Dean put into it to get it to this point, so he did a lot of legwork.
That he
When you
did.
talk about portable fireplaces and so on, you're not talking about an outdoor grill or something like that, are you, that need a permit to do hamburgers?
No.
No,
In your
This
own
one-
yard, you mean?
Yeah?
no.
Is this on the beach or just,
This is
What are you
on,
talking about?
Well, like in
Well-
the first paragraph A.
yeah, so,
Open burning recreational fires, portable fireplaces, and bonfires.
well, this would be present an
Fires,
extra
kindles,
or
or structures,
unusual
personal-
fire hazard to life or property. So if it's a fire pit in your backyard, that's not I mean, people do that all the time.
Yeah, no,
but,
I just didn't
I
wanna-
think it's more of a,
somebody that...
Like recreational, talking about more like bonfires. Like the large scale, like
Well,
we issue
I think you
permits
wanna
for when
talk-
schools or whatever do it.
Any conditions listed on the approved permit, so if you're going for a permit, it obviously is not in your own yard, it's somewhere else.
Okay.
so, but yeah, I mean, they do the bonfire down at the school. They have bonfires down on the beach and those kind of things that,
You have to have a permit, so
yeah.
it tells you what you can do and what you can't do, so.
Everything was pretty just generalized. I think he went into more detail based upon experiences that we're running into and how to basically provide better enforcement and some of the issues that are going on. So that's a good point, though, you brought up, Bill.
I just didn't think it would apply to that, but
So anybody else from the board have any comment? Anyone from the public have any comment? Reference to this? Yeah.
No, because I'm reading number 10, tents, canopies, and other membrane structures, permits to erect a tent, canopy, and other membrane structures in excess of 400 square feet on residential or commercial properties. So if you put a tent on your property for an event, you have to have a permit.
Yeah.
On your own property.
Yeah. And the tent companies know that, so that they know, because, they're
It's
going to want
always been
they're going to want fire extinguishers.
Right.
They're going to want to know that you're not burning, you don't have
I think a lot of
flames and
people
stuff.
don't realize that, but the tent companies
The
do.
tent
so.
companies all
companies
know
know.
that they have to do that, so.
Yeah, most of the people don't know that, but whoever's applying for the permit is usually the party place or the tent place, and they are aware of it and get their appropriate permits.
Any other comments or questions like that? So, all right, so why don't we I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the local law amending Chapter 58 of the Village Code with respect to fire prevention.
Second?
Second?
Aye.
I'd like to take action then.
Okay, it would be a resolution to enact this proposed local law as local law number 4 of 2017.
Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
second?
Roll call vote.
Trustee Yaz?
Aye.
Trustee Irving?
Aye.
Mayor Epley?
Aye.
Trustee McGann?
Aye.
Trustee Estrella?
Aye.
All right, great. I do want to thank Dean McNamara for all the work that he put in, the amount of time, and working with John Foster and those guys, and
It's an amazing job.
yeah,
A lot of work.
a lot of work. So thank you, Dean, for doing that. So, communications to the board, no communications to the board. Suggested resolutions.
Item 1, resolve the reading of the minutes for the public session of May 11, 2017 be dispensed with, and those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator, and the action taken at that meeting be and hereby are ratified and approved. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the claims for warrants dated May 23, 2017 totaling $883,872.49, warrant 14, general fund $553,328, warrant 12, capital reserve fund, and the village payrolls for the period from April 28, 2017 to May 11, 2017 be ordered and approved. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second. Discussion. Page 1, 2 fire department medical reimbursements, Nicholas Aldrich and Robert Shrevitz, $1,000 apiece. Page 2, capital reserve transfer, $700,000 for the balance of the 5/31/17 year. going fast. City Energy Services, street light fixtures, $4,637.50. Coastal Fire Systems plans for the fire department, $3,485, and portable lights, $3,306.90. Page 3, Samuel Diamond, Fire Department reimbursement, $1,000. James Dury, $8,000. Fire Department medical reimbursement. Firematic supply, helmets, $4,224.40. Jonathan Ford, Fire Department volunteer, $1,000. And on page 4, James Frankenbach, same thing, $1,000. Golden Bontello, balance due on a gas bill, $1,000. Granger, flowing on to page 5, Park Supplies, $1,399.95. Granger basketball hoops replacements, $3,599.97. H.O. Penn Machinery payload repair, $4,380.14. Page 6, again, Fire Department reimbursements, Randall Herring and Rachel Hulse, $1,000 apiece. Island Biogreens fertilizer for parks, $4,960. James Lynch irrigation on the trees on Main Street, $2,360. Johnson Electrical Construction traffic signal maintenance for April, $1,350. JV 20 Gin Lane refund, partial refund of building inspector fees that we discussed last meeting, $44,287.60. Page 7, Sean King, Fire Department reimbursement, $1,000, and Guillaume Legume, ambulance reimbursement, $1,000. Page 8, Maldisi Equipment, garage parts, $1,118.83. Mutt Mitt for the Parks Department, $1,048.85. Page 9, National Grid bill for buildings, $1,390.26. Nelson Pope Boreas, consulting fees to the zoning board, $1,189.82. Norsec and Son carting for the parks, $1,125. Page 10, Shane O'Keefe, Fire Department reimbursement, $1,000. Steve Phillips on page 11, $1,000. Professional estate care, Main Street trees, $15,599.50. PSE&G for the police department, $3,124.13. Page 12, PSE&G for street lighting, $1,256.19. Dan Rayner, Fire Department medical reimbursement, $1,000. Same thing on page 13, Dennis Roy, Fire Department medical reimbursement, $1,000. Safety marking and painting for the Highway Department, $10,450.89. Sprague operating reserve, 3,000 gallons of gasoline, $4,852.20. Page 15, Town of Brookhaven and Town of Southampton carting fees, $2,884.68 and $3,322.80 respectively. And on page 17, James White, Fire Department medical reimbursement, $1,000. Capital reserve warrant, Firematic supply, thermal imaging cameras, $17,428, and Rosemar Construction, $535,900. The balance will be paving, the drainage and curbing and sidewalks in the village, Main Street. Further questions?
You got a bunch of names you had to go through that tonight.
There you go.
How'd you pronounce that second name on the first page?
I got it from you. All in favor? Item 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the attached schedule of budget transfers to eliminate overages for the period May 12, 2017 through May 23, 2017. Can I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Discussion. Item 1, $1,200 out of claims into Justice Court contractual. Item 2, $2,500 from clerk supplies with $2,050 going into clerk contractual and $450 into clerk equipment. Item 3, $3,100 coming from building supplies with $1,100 going into buildings equipment. $1,000 into traffic control contractual, and that second will be traffic control supplies. Item 4, $6,000 out of garage contractual with $3,000 going into garage equipment and $3,000 going to garage supplies and materials. Next item is $8,000 coming out of jail attendant, $3,000 out of police supplies with $11,000 going to police holiday and vacation. Next item is $5,000 coming from fire supplies going to fire equipment. Next item is $4,500 from street maintenance miscellaneous going into street maintenance contractual. The next one is $10,100 coming from highway overtime with $1,600 going to parks equipment, $3,000 to park supplies, and $5,500 to parks contractual. And the last one is $2,300 from culture personnel going to Cooper's miscellaneous. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of Josie T. as a beach attendant for Cooper's Beach for the 2017 season at an hourly rate of $10. Can I have a motion?
Sorry.
That's what she goes by, so I'm not even going to try that one.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
You ask anybody at the beach, Rich, how they go with that?
That's just T. Okay.
It's spelled TZITZIMITITTA.
Come on, boss, give it a shot. How do you say that?
Go ahead.
I accept.
I rest my case.
Stick to the high sevens?
5 T's in her last name. That's a
There we
round.
go.
That's That's impressive.
I'd like to know how you fit it on these, those electronic scoring tests, when you run out of the bar.
Wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
Item 5, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the hiring of the following individuals as traffic control officers for the 2017 season at an hourly rate of $16. Robert Murphy, Victor Esposito, and William Mangini. Have a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, there was 4 in per this letter that we did a resolution to hire at the last meeting that took over the jobs, so these 3 are in lieu of the 4 that we approved 2 meetings ago. Item 6, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves Michael Martin as a probationary member of Hook and Ladder Company, number 1, effective May 23rd, 2017. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following payments from the capital reserve accounts, subject to permissive referendum. Rosemar Construction, $535,900 from the Facilities Reserve. Firematic Supply, $17,428 from the Fire Equipment Reserve. You have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion items, a letter here from we went out to bid for the asphalt paving bid for the 2017-2019. We received 2 bids in, one from Rosemar Construction for $527,695 and South Fork Asphalt $562,381. And Gary's recommending that we accept the bid from Rosemar Construction in the amount of $527,695.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Rosemary's done a nice job.
Yeah, the sidewalks came out,
Sidewalk workforce and stuff, so
came
it's
out
nice to
great.
see that they were there.
And we have a party request at Dune Beach for 150 people, Christopher Diamond. It is a birthday party on June 11th from 6 to 11.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Chris Diamond birthday party at Dune Beach on June 11th in accordance with their application.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the next one is the Southampton African American Museum license agreement. Rich, I don't know where you are. I know you've been back and forth with Brenda on this.
There's still one open item to be further discussed, so I don't know if you want to put this off until the next meeting, or whether you want to talk about it now.
Brenda's here right now, so I know that...
Okay, I didn't have my glasses on, I didn't see you out there.
Now, so there were some issues around the DBA and the incorporation piece of it. And then,
Did you get the email this afternoon that I sent you?
actually come on up to, so that way we can,
I got Brenda dropped off to Steve, and he emailed to me some documents regarding their official name and that they're chartered by the Board of Regents, so I have that, so I can make that revision to the license agreement.
Okay.
I didn't get anything about your DBA.
I gave that to you as well.
Yeah, it was 5 documents that I emailed that...
I have another copy if you need it. I brought it purposely.
I noticed that there were 2 copies of one document, so maybe...
Yeah, on the first email I sent you...
I didn't get anything with the DBA.
That was the 8.5 by 14?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
It's actually regular size. I didn't get a copy of it. I thought I gave you the copy of that as well. It is just this.
Okay, you have to show it.
Oops, sorry.
Show it to the counselor.
there you go.
Show it to the legal. Show it to the legal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Legal
This is what I need.
Okay,
Can I keep this?
You can keep that.
Okay, so there's 2 revisions that I'm going to make to
Okay.
the draft agreement.
Yeah.
To use their correct name and that they're chartered by the Regents and the DBA also. So far as I know, there's only one issue open in the draft license agreement. There's a paragraph in the agreement that provides, this has to do with the North Sea Road Museum project. There's a paragraph in the agreement that provides that the licensee will maintain the building, the improvements, there's going to be parking area improvements, et cetera, they're going to be putting in, and the land. I'm under the impression that that Brenda would like to talk about that and who's going to bear that expense.
Now, you talked about the parking. That's all to be done when we renovate, but I'm talking about the maintaining. My question is, what is the license agreement you have for the Southampton Historical Museum? I was hoping that would be sort of the same. From my experience, I believe the village maintains the grounds or whatever they do there at the museum. So
Well, they actually don't maintain the grounds. What the museum hires their own people to come in and mow.
Okay,
They have a license.
that's fine.
They go over that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they have asked the village to come in and take care of some of the things on the outside of the building. And, basically, it's not, I think it's done according to their wants and needs. And we budget for it because there was a period of time where they were just sort of sending bills over, and we said it can't be done that way. We have to plan in advance for that. So it's kind of done that way.
I don't think we're going to probably need that because the building's going to be
Right.
renovated, so I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be I just wanted, it's basically as similar as can with what you have for.
It's interesting because some of the things on the grounds, like the Sayer Barn,
Yeah, right, that they own that.
They
so-
own that. So a lot of those structures on there are owned, and but the carriage house is something that they got a grant for half of the painting of it, and the village had
Restoration of it.
supported the other half of it. So, I haven't really looked at that lease to study it and stuff, and I understand the idea is, the Arts Center, the Cultural Center, Vets Hall, those are all village-owned buildings
Right.
that we have a responsibility to maintain. So the North Sea Road is actually a property that's
By the
owned
town.
by the town.
Correct.
So,
I got
and
you.
so I think that, we probably, before we actually, we can have the agreement, I think the purchase that allowed us to contract with the museum to maintain and operate. I have to,
Because the IMA alluded to that.
Yeah,
The IMA with
right.
the town and village alluded to that responsibility for the village, but I
Right.
understand, I guess a separate license agreement, you can do whatever.
yeah, so I would, so it's, that's it. Because, the long-term plans are to renovate and do what we're trying to accomplish, and we got grant money that came from the town to help.
And I'm proud to
assist.
say I had a meeting with Assemblyman Fred Thiel, and I was awarded $125,000 as well.
Oh, good, that's wonderful.
Helping the
Great.
project, so
It was like
very
that.
excited about that.
It's a good job.
I've been back 3 weeks and I've been nonstop, but vacation is over.
Oh, that's great.
But that was
That's
a great,
terrific.
and I'm hoping that might be on an ongoing basis,
Nice.
hopefully.
That's great.
So,
That's fantastic.
very excited
So-
about that.
Real money.
And so, but I think
Well, the Historical Museum, we own that building, right? So I think that's...
Yeah.
we did, but the.
And the property, the building, the
Yeah.
property, the Nugent Carriage House, all the other buildings are owned by them on the property.
But the village owns the property, right, still, that stands.
Yeah. So, but I think that that's easy, something easy to be.
Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a major,
It's not that, it's not that big of a deal. So Rick's got all the
That was the
DDA
main
and
thing that I
incorporation
want
stuff.
to search.
And then, so we should be in a position at the next meeting to present and approve and,
This is on the property,
245 North Sea.
yeah.
you know,
And
for-
I know that CMAC did some plans for you, I think. on
Mhm.
it. Is there a survey showing where the parking's going to be on the property
Yes.
at this point? Because I don't
Yes.
think I've seen
It's in the
that.
back rear, it's in the back
Okay.
toward the, that other house in the back. It's a small, I think it's only going to be two parking
It went
spaces.
to the planning board, they went to the planning board for a site plan approval, they went to the zoning board for some technical variances that were needed.
Oh, good. So it's done.
So we're actually in the process of the bid packaging right now,
Right.
which is exciting. It's been a
Right.
long
Well, you've done a great job there, Brenda, and, we're lucky to, he's lucky
It's
to have you.
exciting, very
It is
exciting.
exciting, it is
Yeah.
exciting.
So we'll come back here we have everything we need, and we'll come back here at the next meeting.
Okay, I'll put up for 6/8.
Yeah,
You got it.
great.
Okay.
Day before my birthday.
You're going to have to let me know what you want me to do to that one paragraph.
Yeah, we'll double check with what the Historical Museum has, and
But I understand it has to do with the ownership of the building, in other words, not the land, and that's what I guess I was
Right.
having in my
Yeah.
head, which makes a difference.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good, okay, thanks.
All right, the next item is the annual tour of the Hamptons by the Massapequa Bicycle Club on September 24th, 2017.
Is that the same day as the marathon?
We don't,
Oh, this is a Sunday. Okay.
No, it says here, date event 9/24.
Just check the calendar real quick.
Is that a Sunday?
Anybody have a
I got one.
calendar on them?
I do?
I have marked. 23rd is a Saturday, 24th is a Sunday.
Okay, good.
All right, great.
So this is the Sunday.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It'd be,
Aren't they on the 30th, though, the marathon? No, they moved it again?
Move it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
700 participants.
well, they get pretty spread out, so.
700, wow.
So they do this every year, though, so,
Yes,
yeah.
this one has
Yeah,
a
it's all
different
different routes.
length of course, too.
Yeah.
Like 10 miles or 15 or 20, whatever. Ends up in Montauk, right? Or
Yes, yeah.
no, it has to, keep going,
25, 50, 70.
keep going, because this is all for the diamond party.
Okay. I got you.
Here we are, right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they-
Any other
Did they come here before?
They do this every year.
Yeah, is this the one that has to do with rotations as well? They get involved with this one, or is that the other?
They do get involved with this, but it's only a stop, I think it is.
Right, just, they do in the back there.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason why we feel we owe it to them, or something? I just startled when you see 700
Well,
people.
technically,
Technically, we can't disallow
there's
it.
nothing we can do, because they're not asking for police support, and they're basically just riding their bikes through the Hamptons,
On a public road, which
on
we...
public roads.
Right?
So, that's the reality of it all. So,
I'm confusing this too.
yeah, so if they were asking for, police assistance, and they were asking for access to village properties and different, then, that's a whole different, they're asking
I
basically
think they're looking for a little police assistance, right, on the application?
No,
I didn't see any.
no,
Professional village, no?
Gotcha.
It's just,
that's it, so,
So pretty much, they're coming down, in the village part of it, they're coming down Hampton Road to Narrow, and they finish at the high school.
right. Yeah.
Scares me. Stay away from main roads.
Right. So, all right. Any other comments or questions or anything like that? So, to make a,
On Moses. Halsey Neck, Meadow Lane, Old Town Road, Wickapog Road, Narrow Lane, finishes at the high school. So there's different ways of coming in. That's the 50 mile. Then, let's see what, hold on here. How could our police not be involved in this?
don't have to. They get actually spread out so much that,
yeah, it's not like they come in any large clusters. It's an ongoing, continuous stream of bike riders throughout
the
the...
only thing our police have to do is stop them when they go through all the stop signs and they're running the red lights and...
Make sure they have proper reflectors and
So,
signal correctly.
part Mr. Kennedy will say, we truly expect you to follow the rules of the road.
Proper use of hand signals.
Any other comments or anything like that?
No.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to authorize the Massapequa Park Bicycle Club to hold their annual ride through the Hamptons, tour the Hamptons event in accordance with their application.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item is a request from Chris Brenner to hold his annual fire department family barbecue at Dune Beach on Sunday, August 6th, noon to 4 p.m.
They do this every year.
Yeah, they do everything.
Families.
It's not a large,
So, yeah.
it's not a large gathering, it's just them and their
Yeah.
families and the kids.
Nice.
Okay. Authorize it, make a motion on it.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the annual party for the Southampton Fire Department on Dune Beach, Sunday, August 6th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Last time, I just wanted, I mentioned when we did the budget that we were getting killed on the workers' comp there, so Cook Marin did go out, and on your last page there, we looked at the state insurance fund, which is your last column. Their premium's coming in at $1,096,000 plus a $100,000 fee, so it's $1,196,000. The downside there is the mod factor's at 1 because this will be our first year going there, so we'll be wide open for next year. And they went back to PERMA, and they kind of beat them up a little bit with, stress what we're doing on the safety training and everything, said we had, this competing quote from State Insurance Fund, so they dropped their original premium from $1,320,000 down to $1,200,000. So, we did pretty good on that. I think Cook Marin did a great job on behalf of the village on this, and obviously, I think for $4,000, it doesn't make any sense to go to State Insurance Fund. One, they don't have the training and programs that PERMA does to make the switch. They handle claims not in the best manner. So Cook Marin is also saying, going the PERMA is the right route. But, the main thing is that we're saving about $120,000 from what was originally budgeted for next year.
Good.
Boy, so workers' comp, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's one other discussion item, if you're done with what's on the agenda, that I want to bring up and have you proceed with. There's a subsection in our gross floor area regulations. Remember, we have a formula. There's a subsection in there that says that, basically, that if the gross floor area that would be allowed under the formula, because it's a very large lot, exceeds 18,000 square feet, then the maximum gross floor area is 18,000 square feet. You can't go beyond that, no matter how big your lot is. And that's been in the code right from the beginning. The formula that's referenced used to be in subsection B of that section of the zoning code. When we did our gross floor area amendments, a local law a couple of months ago, we put the formula into two sections, subsection B just for the larger zones, and then we did a subsection E for the smaller zones. And so this subsection C that has the cap of 18,000 square feet, it only refers to subsection B. I noticed this the other day when I happened to be looking at it. So it's just a technical amendment, but we should amend subsection C so that it refers to subsection B or subsection E. It's no change in substance, but somebody sees this, they're going to make an argument that the 18,000 cap doesn't apply in some of the zones. So it's a technical amendment. I prepared a simple local law. I don't see it in the agenda.
I haven't seen it. Did you send it to me?
Yeah, I sent it to you while you were off.
Okay, I'll take a look. I didn't see it.
And I think I got an okay, a reply
Yeah,
from you.
okay.
You were out of the office, I know.
Right. All right.
Like I'm in a tennis match here.
Okay.
Okay, CPA and
All it
counsel.
does
Trying
is,
to work on my pronunciation of names.
there's a
Yeah, you got to work on that.
There's a purpose clause that explains the background that I just explained to you, and the actual amendment, subsection C of section 116-17.1 is hereby amended by adding the language or subsection E below after the language subsection B above. So it's just a technical amendment to clarify that. I'd like you to introduce it today and schedule a public hearing for June 20. It's not enough time to do it for the June 8 meeting. If we introduce it today and schedule it for June 20, then we can enact it before I'm not here.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to hold a public hearing on zoning amendment in the court, as per the village attorney, on June 20th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Make sure we get those subsections correct.
Right, there you go. Therefore, be it.
Steve, it was a May 18 email,
Okay.
late afternoon, and the public hearing notice, I made an assumption that you would follow my advice.
Okay.
Wow.
So I emailed the public hearing notice.
Many years in, now you're
Thursday.
starting to assume
Pardon?
things?
That was Thursday.
Yes,
Okay,
Thursday at 5:34 PM.
you got it.
I have my proof.
All right.
Okay, I'm trapped.
No, I know you were off, so,
So as long as you have your proof.
but the public hearing notice is there. If you don't
Okay.
find the email, give me a call and
You got
I'll
it.
get it to you again. Okay, thank you.
Great, okay. No, thank you. Comments from board members here. Trustee Yastrzemski.
Oh, sure. I just want to take a moment to recognize the loss of a member of community last week. I'm sure a lot of people, they read about it and saw the ceremony over the weekend. But we lost a young, and what made it hard is the actual age of the person, Sam Price. We lost last week with after a long bout with an illness. It's tough to see somebody so young at the age of 25 lose their life. But he was a member of two families in Southampton. He was a member of the Southampton Fire Department, and he was a member of, obviously, the Price family, which actually kind of intertwined because the Price family has a very long history with the Southampton Fire Department. So my condolences, of course, to their family and friends of both families. I want to commend the Southampton Fire Department for putting on incredible service, incredible tribute to this young man and firefighter and volunteer and family member. Was above and beyond and impressive. I want to thank all the neighboring fire departments and first responders that assisted. We had fire departments from all over contribute their time and services to make sure the arrangements and services went smoothly. So I want to thank all the neighboring fire departments and first responders for helping. And I also want to thank our Southampton Village Police Department for making sure the event ceremony and tribute went smooth as well. So. And
Trustee Irving?
Just real quickly, we got a pretty big weekend coming up here, and I just want to tell everybody to stay safe. You know, that everybody gets riled up and drives like maniacs, and it's not worth it. So please, all of you, be safe over this weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
We, as a village, do we have any parades or something that we're supposed to be at this weekend? And
do.
what are the times?
I think he'll touch on that.
Monday.
Monday at 10 o'clock is the, is it 10 o'clock?
10:45.
At 10:45 is the parade at the Presbyterian Church. Go down Job's Lane, and then we'll have the service at 11 o'clock at Agawam Park for Memorial Day. Nancy?
Do you mind if I meet you at the park?
Meet us anywhere you want to.
The Van Winkle exception, I'm claiming.
So we will be getting a letter from a resident who lives on Moses Lane. I'm sure it hasn't come in yet. I had mentioned that we were having a meeting tonight. It'll probably be to us by the next meeting. And basically, I'm just giving you the heads up on this. I emailed him back, Moses is heavily trafficked now, and we all know the whole situation of Moses going over to County Road 39. And one of the things that he's asking for is to reduce the speed limit there because, and I know this does happen, if there isn't a lot of traffic, cars just fly down that street. And, he knows that Hill Street's 25 miles an hour. I think Moses is 30 miles an hour, and he was asking if it could be reduced to 25 miles an hour on Moses as well. So I'm just giving you the heads up because that letter will be coming at some point.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I thought it made a lot of sense since it is probably one of the main roads going back up to County Road 39. So I just want to let you know that. And I also want to say that the village is looking great. I know that the guys have been out and putting mulch all around the trees. Also, the flower boxes went out, and they actually were putting flowers in them, and it looks so beautiful. I got so excited today when I was out and about. So the village is looking really, it's coming along. I want to email Gary about the flags, because I'm sure the flags are going to go out this week. They haven't gone out yet. Yeah. So just as a gentle reminder, not that I need to remind Gary about that, because I'm sure that he has that on his list, and that will be going out before the weekend. And hopefully they'll be able to finish up the flower boxes, because I think we're going to be getting rain for a couple of days. But that won't keep them, I don't think. I think they'll be able to do it. But it looks nice, and the village looks beautiful, and the mulch around the trees looks terrific. And it's spring going into summer, and I'm very excited. A lot of people have said, oh, we're so crowded already. I'm excited. It's some energy in the community,
Right.
So it's all good.
Great. Bill?
Just one quick thing. I'll send you down each a copy of the letter that the manager of Starbucks sent to us, and really to. And because some weeks ago I got a complaint that their parking lot behind the Starbucks building was particularly messy, which it is, and of course the village can't. It's privately owned, so it's not our concern. But I think, Mark, you might have gone down to see them, and Steve was good enough to get Angel to go see them several times. And it's a very nice letter. I'll go see her tomorrow, and I'm happy to see that, according to her letter, that they do have somebody go out each day and spend 30 minutes picking up things that are back there, which I must be going there long after the 30-minute trip each time I've been there. But in any event,
I don't know if they're sending somebody out every day to clean that up.
No,
So
who knows?
I agree with you, Bill.
I just wish we could get them to put a little canister at the end of their walkway to the parking lot, so that might cut the issue in half or something like that. Anyhow, it's a nice letter, and I know that Starbucks doesn't like to offend people, so we probably will get some action out of them. Other than that, I was delighted to see all the lines get painted as early as they did this year.
That's right.
I'm a real great a candy striper there, the double yellows and all that sort of thing. Other than that, Well, we touch base on Memorial Day, and if you're a veteran, I encourage you to come down and participate. And if you're not, I encourage you to come down and support the veterans. Every year we have the high school band that marches too, so those kids are coming on their own time. The Civil Air Patrol, always from West Hampton Beach, comes, and it's a great group of young people that come down. So it'll be a very nice service. As always, hopefully the weather is fantastic. And I do want to second what Rich said in reference to Sam Price. So he grew up with my kids, and he and my youngest son were friends since pre-K. And he was the first one of all my kids' friends to call me Mark. And he got a kick out of it. And
from who?
Exactly. So I think his other friends, but as a little kid, he would call me Mark, and which I always thought was funny. But he you know, if there was ever someone that was full of life, it was Sam Price. So, you know, Bob and Sue, you know, and Maddie, his sister, you know, that whole family, you know, nothing harder. So, they're all in our prayers. So, so that's leads us to the second public comment section. Anybody else from the public would like to speak? So I will close this and make a motion to adjourn the meeting. We have no executive session.
Second?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.